2011 Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show in New York City. We're talking with Eric Schroeder of Tribal Iron Choppers. Eric, take a moment and give me a little about your background, please.
My background is all mechanical and engineering. I started out with motorcycles at a very young age, about 10, 12 years old, taking old vintage rups and mini bikes, tearing them down, refinishing them and selling them. Then I got into auto mechanics, got fully certified in that, ASE certified, became an instructor, took courses, extensive courses on design and engineering and art and design. And then opened up Tribal Iron Choppers about 16 years ago, and it's been a crazy ride ever since.
What were you trying to accomplish on this build, Eric?
With this build, we were actually approached by this company here, AlamoPoker.com, which is an online casino. They wanted the bike to have an old Alamo, Texas Western type of feel, as if it was dug up out of the desert. So what we did is we actually built the entire bike from scratch, this one, and did everything on this bike. And we shot the tank with 9mm in 5 spots, tubed the tank so you can see through the bullet hole still. You have entry wounds on one side, exit wounds on the other. The 6-shooter replicas with hammers and thumb throttle. Custom bars with the Alamo and Texas cut into it here. We got the shotgun, side-by-side shotgun exhaust on it with the bead sight, meat grinder air cleaner, railroad spike pegs, full metal jacket, copper headlight. Got the wooden crate under the seat for the battery box. We got the TNT barrel in the front for the oil tank. It's a lot of little details too. We got the playing cards recessed into the gas tank, dealer button for the gas cap, and gave the whole thing a iron phosphate and patina finish, so it looks like it was actually dug up out of the desert, which they really enjoyed. And that was pretty much our inspiration, what we ran with on this one.
Let's talk about the fabrication on this.
Fabrication, we have about 400 hours into on this bike. Took about 9 months. Literally every part was made in-house in the shop, painted in-house, powder coat or anything that we did in-house on this one. There really was no chrome. The only thing we don't do in-house is chrome. Fabrication started pretty much with the frame dimensions that they wanted, with a high-up chopper, wide 330 right-side drive frame. Then we just kind of built it from there and just let it kind of build itself. As we put another piece on, made the gas tank, the bike kind of turned direction, you got to let them kind of go in the direction they want to go in. If you force them to do something, then they look kind of hokey. A lot of people seem to like this bike a lot at shows. We unveiled it here at this show about 5-6 years ago. And people still come back to see the bike and see detail that they never saw before. There's a lot of little things in this bike.
Talk about the front end on here. What did you do with that?
This started as a standard 65mm inverted front end with a phantom front brake with the brake line hidden inside. We did this one in raw finish so we can do our iron phosphate coating, and it just gives it a nice fat beefy stance to the front. And anytime I do a real long chopper like this, I like to have a fat front end that doesn't tweak out.
Let's move to the rear end now, since we did the front end. What have we got on the rear?
On the rear is kind of a rare thing. We were the first ones to do a 330 spoke, so we actually custom built that wheel. We took 2 car wheels, cut them, welded them together, and made the only spoke 330 wheel that I know of that's out there still to this day. It's got a rigid mounted fender mounted to the swing arm that makes it look like a rigid, even though this bike is actually a soft tail. And it's pretty much it. We have rebar standoffs for the fender supports in the back, and that's where from the rear of the bike actually looks like someone's aiming a side-by-side shotgun at you. That's kind of cool.
What was your approach on paint on this one?
Basically, we wanted to keep it simple. We did black, we did discolorations around the bullet hole, so it looks like the metal's actually discolored on the entry and exit wounds. The only things we really went all out on, they wanted a wanted poster on the back. And they needed, the airbrush artist that we have needed somebody to sit there with a hat and a cigar in his mouth, so that was his version of no detail. It almost looks like a photograph of me, but I know wanted posters are usually just very rough brush strokes in it, but he just doesn't know how to do something with little detail. So that's how that came out.
Who would you like to thank on this?
I'd like to thank AlamoPoker.com, all the guys that helped me on this bike, Ray, Evan, Frank, as many years ago, and all the magazines and media coverage that we got from this bike. I'd like to thank everybody that helped this bike become what it is, which is pretty popular at shows wherever we go.
If somebody'd like to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Easiest way is either to call us directly at the shop Monday through Friday, 10 to 6 at 201-791-4647, or you can email me at tribalproducts@AOL.com.
Eric, thank you very much.
Thank you.